Okay, so let's unpack this. What if the reason that state-of-the-art IVF treatments fail isn't actually a problem with the medical technology itself,
Right.
but what if it's a microscopic energy crisis happening inside a single human cell?
Which is such a wild concept to wrap your head around.
It really is. So today, we are doing a deep dive into the source material on a topic that millions of people navigate in just total, often painful silence, which is infertility.
Yeah. It's incredibly tough.
It is the heartbreak of poor egg and sperm quality, recurrent miscarriages, failed cycles, and that deeply frustrating diagnosis of unexplained infertility.
Mm-hmm.
But today's deep dive is incredibly hopeful. We're looking at a clinical framework developed by the Berkeley Center for Reproductive Wellness.
Right, located in Midtown East Manhattan.
Exactly. And since 1997, they have been fundamentally rewriting these fertility stories.
Yeah.
And they're doing it by targeting reproductive problems at the absolute microscopic level, integrating time-tested Eastern therapies directly alongside Western medicine.
It is a phenomenal intersection to explore. I mean, if you love connecting the dots between, ancient practices and modern cellular biology, this deep dive into the source material is going to completely change how you view reproductive health.
Yeah.
Because we aren't looking at some vague philosophical approach to wellness here.
Right. Not at all.
We are looking at a highly targeted biological intervention, and it's backed by a stack of 5 peer-reviewed clinical studies.
Yeah, that stack of studies is so important.
It really is. It addresses the exact reasons why so many advanced reproductive technologies sometimes just hit a brick wall.
Okay, well, let's start right there at that biological brick wall.
Okay.
Because when we talk about poor egg quality or sperm that lacks motility or these really agonizing recurrent miscarriages, we have to look past the macroscopic outcomes, right?
Exactly.
We have to go down to the cellular battleground. So what is physically happening inside the body to cause these failures?
Well, it really boils down to a massive cellular energy crisis. It's driven by a war between 2 very specific forces inside our cells. So on the destructive side, you have an overabundance of highly unstable molecules called reactive oxygen species, or ROS.
ROS.
Yeah. And then on the vital side, the good side, you have a critical drop in ATP.
Right.
And ATP is the energy currency that powers every single healthy cellular function in your body.
It's like the fuel.
Exactly, the fuel. And it is manufactured by the mitochondria, which are, essentially the microscopic power plants inside your cells.
So it's a serial imbalance. Like you have way too much ROS
Yeah.
and a totally depleted supply of ATP.
Right. And here is where that imbalance tips into absolute biological chaos.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, when those reactive oxygen species, the ROS, accumulate faster than the body's natural defenses can neutralize them, you enter a state called oxidative stress.
Okay.
These ROS molecules, they're actually missing an electron, so they violently tear through the cell looking to steal one from somewhere else.
Just ripping things apart.
Literally. They damage the cell membranes, making them rigid instead of fluid. Ugh. They severely impair the mitochondria, which shuts down the ATP production we just talked about. And most devastating for fertility, they literally fragment the DNA inside the eggs and sperm.
Okay, wait, let me try to visualize this because the mechanics are fascinating.
Sure.
It's kind of like the human cell's mitochondria are a car battery.
Okay, yeah.
And those reactive oxygen species, the ROS, are corrosive rust.
Oh, I like that.
Right. So if the battery is completely dead and the engine is severely rusted out, the car, or in this case the sperm and the egg, simply isn't going anywhere.
That analogy hits the nail on the head. I mean, let's look at a sperm cell, for example.
Okay.
It is basically just a payload of DNA with an outboard motor, the flagellum.
Right, the little tail.
Exactly. And to whip that tail and swim all the way up the reproductive tract, it requires a massive continuous supply of ATP.
The battery has to be charged.
Exactly. Without that charged battery, the sperm physically cannot move forward. They lack motility. Right. Now look at the human egg. An egg is one of the largest, most complex cells in the body.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and for an egg to mature, it has to accurately divide its chromosomes, which is a process that requires a staggering amount of energy.
Okay.
If ATP is depleted, the machinery that pulls those chromosomes apart just stalls out.
Oh, wow.
And you end up with chromosomal abnormalities, which is a primary driver of early miscarriages. The battery basically dies before the engine can even start.
Which perfectly explains why, simply extracting that egg and putting it in a petri dish for IVF doesn't guarantee a baby.
Right.
If the cellular foundation is already compromised, that embryo is going to be incredibly fragile. regardless of how advanced the laboratory is.
The cellular environment dictates everything.
Mm.
You know, you cannot build a sturdy house on a crumbling foundation.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
Yeah.
So how does a clinic founded back in 1997 figure out how to address this highly specific cellular crisis?
Yeah, it's a great story.
Because the Berkeley Center wasn't born out of some, pristine, sterile research lab. No, not at all.
It started with a personal failure that turned a massive skeptic into a pioneer.
The origin story here is intensely human and highly relatable for anyone who's been through this.
Definitely.
It centers on the founder, Mike Berkeley. Today, he holds the credentials LAC and FABORM.
Okay.
So he is a licensed and board-certified acupuncturist and herbalist specializing specifically in reproductive medicine.
Right.
But back in the 90s, he possessed none of those credentials.
Wow. None of them.
None. He and his wife were just a couple trying desperately to start a family, facing month after month of negative tests.
Just going through that brutal cycle.
Exactly.
So they go in for the full battery of diagnostic testing, and they get hit with a pretty brutal dual diagnosis.
They did. Testing revealed that Mike had severe issues on the male factor side. He had poor sperm morphology, meaning the physical shape of the sperm was abnormal, so they couldn't properly penetrate an egg.
Okay.
And he also had poor motility, so that swimming mechanism we talked about was broken. Right, the battery was dead.
Exactly. And on top of that, his wife was diagnosed with anti-sperm antibodies.
Okay, let's pause and define that, because that sounds like a biological fortress shutting its gates.
That's a good way to put it.
What exactly are anti-sperm antibodies doing?
It is essentially an immune system misfire.
Oh.
The female body mistakenly identifies the sperm as a dangerous foreign pathogen, like a virus or a bacteria.
Wow. So it's attacking it.
Right. Her immune system produces immunoglobulins antibodies that bind to the sperm.
Okay.
And this causes the sperm to clump together, or it paralyzes them in the cervical mucus so they can't even enter the uterus. It is a formidable immunological roadblock.
That is just wild. And at this point in the timeline, Mike Berkeley had absolutely zero belief in alternative medicine, right?
And
He's a complete skeptic. He thinks acupuncture is just nonsense.
complete disbelief. But his wife began seeing an acupuncturist and herbalist.
Okay.
And she eventually convinced Mike that he needed to go in for treatment as well.
As you do, right.
Right, happy wife, happy life. So he reluctantly went along with it. And just 3 months after they started integrating these Eastern treatments into their lives, his wife became pregnant.
Wow.
Yeah, and they have a highly successful, healthy son today because of that intervention.
Okay, see, here's where it gets really interesting. Because a skeptic is going to look at that story and immediately ask, is there a risk? Well, we're just looking at a lucky placebo effect here.
Oh, absolutely.
They tried something new, maybe they relaxed a bit, their cortisol dropped, and boom, a pregnancy happened.
Right.
How does a complete non-believer experience one single success and shift his entire life to a 3-decade singular focus on this field?
It is a vital question, and honestly, Mike's response to that success is what validates the entire clinical framework.
Okay, how so?
Well, he didn't just write a blog post about a personal miracle and move on.
Right.
The experience forced him to ask how it worked. He actually went back to school, studied the underlying physiological mechanisms, and built an integrative, heavily evidence-based clinic.
That is dedication.
Oh, yeah. He became the very first acupuncturist in the United States to focus exclusively on reproductive wellness.
Wow. So he didn't just open a practice. He helped legitimize the entire specialty.
He really did. He was instrumental in forming a dedicated board within the American Society of Acupuncturists, specifically to certify practitioners in reproductive medicine.
Oh, to ensure standard training.
Exactly, ensuring rigorous, standardized training nationwide. Furthermore, his clinical outcomes over the last nearly 30 years have led to him being reviewed and approved by NY Top Docs for 2025.
It's amazing.
Yeah, institutional legacy, peer-reviewed accolades, and 3 decades of consistent clinical success do not stem from a placebo effect. They stem from a highly repeatable biological mechanism of action.
All right, well, let's tear into those mechanisms.
Let's do it.
How are they taking a medical system that is literally thousands of years old and using it to reverse the microscopic cellular damage we discussed earlier?
Yeah.
The rusted engine and the dead battery.
Right. Well, it begins with the structure of the clinic itself. The Berkeley Center is exclusively dedicated to fertility.
Okay.
Their primary tool for restoring cellular energy is acupuncture, but applied with intense specificity to the reproductive system.
But logically, I mean, how does inserting tiny sterile needles into the skin fix a mitochondrial energy deficit in an ovary or a testicle?
What's fascinating here is that it fundamentally alters blood flow.
Oh, really?
Yeah. When specific neurovascular nodes on the body are stimulated through acupuncture, it triggers the nervous system to release vasodilators.
Okay, note of those.
These are chemicals that cause the blood vessels to widen and relax.
Yeah.
And this measurably increases blood circulation directly to the pelvic floor, the ovaries, and the testes.
Okay, so going back to our earlier analogy, it sounds like the acupuncture is essentially opening up a blocked highway.
Exactly.
It allows this massive convoy of supply trucks carrying oxygen and nutrients to finally bypass the traffic and reach the construction site at the ovaries and testes.
And those supplies are exactly what the mitochondria require to manufacture ATP.
Right, the fuel.
You restore the blood flow, you restore the fuel, you recharge the battery.
Wow.
But beyond that, the physical stimulation of acupuncture also modulates the immune system to drastically reduce systemic inflammation.
Which is huge.
It is, because since inflammation is a massive driver of oxidative stress, calming that inflammatory response actively shifts the local cellular neighborhood from a zone of dysfunction into a zone of repair.
That makes so much sense.
Right. And the uterine lining gets the circulation it needs to become thick and receptive for an embryo to implant.
Okay, so the acupuncture opens the highway to deliver oxygen and lower inflammation.
Yeah.
But if the cells are already heavily rusted out with oxidative stress, blood flow alone isn't going to aggressively clean up the existing damage, right?
Right.
How are they actively neutralizing that dangerous overabundance of ROS?
That is where the herbal medicine steps in. And this isn't about, grabbing a generic multivitamin off a pharmacy shelf.
Right.
The center compounds proprietary, highly individualized botanical formulas based on a thorough evaluation of each patient's specific lab work and constitution.
Because what is causing oxidative stress in one patient might be entirely different from another.
Exactly the point. These specific botanical formulas act as potent, targeted antioxidants at the cellular level.
Okay.
When an unstable ROS molecule is tearing through a cell looking to steal an electron, these plant-based antioxidants step in and donate an electron.
Oh, wow. So they neutralize the threat.
Yes, before it can fragment the DNA or stiffen the cell membrane, the herbs are actively scrubbing the rust off the engine while the acupuncture charges the battery.
That is such a clear picture. But the Berkeley Center doesn't stop at ancient tools.
No, they don't.
They also integrate some highly modern technology to push cellular energy even further, specifically something called low-level light therapy, or LLLT.
Yeah.
How do lasers fit into this ancient framework?
So LLOT, also known as photobiomodulation, is a fascinating bridge between the old and the new. They use specific wavelengths of red and near-infrared light, which have the unique ability to safely penetrate deep into human tissue.
Okay.
Inside the mitochondria, there's a specific light-absorbing enzyme called cytochrome C oxidase.
Cytochrome C oxidase, got it.
When the photons from the laser hit this enzyme, it acts like a biological accelerator pedal.
Yay.
It literally kickstarts the electron transport chain, forcing the mitochondria to pump out significantly more ATP while simultaneously reducing oxidative stress.
So they're attacking the cellular energy crisis from three distinct angles.
Yeah.
You've got blood flow, botanical antioxidants, and photonic stimulation.
Exactly.
And what I find so compelling is that patients are never asked to choose between this Eastern approach and Western medicine.
No, never.
It isn't an alternative, it's an integration.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the integrative philosophy is the core brilliance of the entire operation. Mike Berkeley collaborates directly with reproductive endocrinologists, urologists, and OBGYNs. He designs specific acupuncture and herbal protocols expressly to increase the odds of a live birth for couples who are actively going through IVF or IUI cycles.
It's a perfect division of labor.
It really is.
The Eastern medicine prepares the cellular soil, clearing out the ROS, charging the ATP, thickening the uterine lining, and then the Western medical technology, the IVF or IUI, comes in to expertly plant the seed.
They are completely synergistic. The Eastern therapies optimize the biological environment so the Western technologies can actually do their job successfully.
Okay, so the logic of prepping the soil tracks perfectly.
Yeah,
But a true skeptic is always going to ask for the receipts.
of course.
When Western medical researchers actually put these integrated techniques under a microscope, what did the data show?
Well, we have the data.
Right. We have 5 distinct peer-reviewed scientific studies in our stack today that evaluate this exact framework.
Let's start by validating the foundational problem, the ROS and the ATP.
Okay, hit me.
A 2021 study by Agarwal and colleagues, published in the journal Antioxidants, looked deeply into oxidative stress and male infertility.
Okay.
They confirmed through rigorous biochemical analysis that ROS-induced mitochondrial dysfunction directly kills sperm motility and causes severe DNA fragmentation.
Wow.
And semen naturally has very limited antioxidant defenses, making it incredibly vulnerable to this exact type of rust.
So the cellular battleground is scientifically verified on the male side.
Yes.
What about the female reproductive environment?
Okay, a 2009 study by Reuter et al. In the Human Reproduction Update demonstrated that elevated oxidative stress is equally devastating to egg quality.
Really?
Yeah. It disrupts the microscopic spindle apparatus during cell division, leading directly to poor embryo development and chromosomal abnormalities.
Oh, wow.
The scientific consensus is ironclad. Oxidative stress ruins reproductive function across the board.
Okay, so science agrees on the damage. But do researchers actually see the acupuncture opening the blocked highway?
Yes.
Like, do they see the blood flow increasing?
They do, and they've actually measured it.
Wait, really?
Yeah. A 2010 study by Steiner Victorin in Acupuncture and Medicine looked directly at female reproductive health.
Okay.
Using Doppler ultrasound, researchers physically measured the blood flow in the ovarian arteries.
Oh, wow. So they could see it.
Exactly. They found that acupuncture empirically improved ovarian blood circulation and balanced hormonal regulation in women undergoing fertility treatments.
They literally watched the highway open up on the ultrasound screen.
Yes, they did.
That is incredible. And what happens when you combine that increased blood flow with advanced Western technology like IVF?
That brings us to a massive landmark study in the field. A 2002 randomized controlled trial by Paulus et al. Published in Fertility and Sterility.
Okay.
They took persons undergoing IVF and divided them into 2 groups. The group that received a specific acupuncture protocol right before and right after their embryo transfer had significantly higher clinical pregnancy rates compared to the control group that only received standard IVF.
That is huge.
Yeah. The acupuncture relaxes the uterus, prevents the cramping that can expel an embryo, and provides that nutrient-rich blood flow for implantation.
A randomized controlled trial proving higher clinical pregnancy rates during IVF.
Mm-hmm.
That is.
Wow.
Wow. And what about the botanical side? Can herbs actually scrub the rust off the sperm?
Our 5th study addresses exactly that.
Oh, perfect.
Lannon et al. In 2015, published in the Asian Journal of Andrology, reviewed the clinical evidence surrounding Chinese herbal medicine and male fertility.
Okay.
They demonstrated that specific botanical formulas significantly improved both sperm motility and morphology.
Really?
Yeah. The biochemical analysis showed these herbs acted as potent, targeted antioxidants within the seminal fluid, physically stopping the oxidative damage from destroying the sperm cells.
So what does this all mean for our listener? We aren't just talking about ancient wisdom taking a guess in the dark.
No, not at all.
We are looking at modern, peer-reviewed science, looking under a high-resolution microscope and saying, hey, this actually works.
Exactly. Modern science finally has the vocabulary words like reactive oxygen species, mitochondrial dysfunction, and ATP to explain the exact biological mechanisms behind what this traditional medicine has been doing successfully for centuries.
It is a profound convergence.
It really is. 2 vastly different medical paradigms arriving at the exact same truth. You fix the cell, you restore the function.
But, getting that positive pregnancy test isn't the finish line.
No.
The goal is a healthy baby in your arms. What happens after conception is achieved?
The clinical protocol at the Berkeley Center shifts immediately upon a positive test.
Okay, to what?
The entire focus pivots heavily toward miscarriage prevention.
Ah, right.
The first 12 weeks of pregnancy are highly vulnerable, so the treatment concentrates on maintaining that calm, uninflamed immune environment and ensuring a rich, continuous blood supply to the developing placenta and fetus.
It was about fiercely protecting the biological investment of all that cellular energy they just built up.
Precisely.
And as much as we love the hard science and the cellular mechanics, there is a human element to this clinic that we absolutely have to highlight.
Oh, for sure.
We have a quote from a patient describing Mike Berkeley, and she says, He's a rarity among providers in the fertility space and a gem among humans. His relentless optimism, kindness, depth of knowledge, and sense of humor are incredible assets at any time, but particularly as you go through the ups and downs of fertility treatment.
This raises an important question, right? That human element cannot be overstated.
Yeah.
We can map out ATP production and laser photon absorption all day, but compassion and humor during someone's darkest, most uncertain moments is an absolutely essential component of effective medical care.
It really is.
Severe stress spikes cortisol, and cortisol drives systemic inflammation, which feeds right back into oxidative stress.
Oh, it's a vicious cycle.
Exactly. So having a practitioner who brings genuine empathy and optimism into the room actively lowers that stress response.
Yeah.
The empathy and the science are working toward the exact same biological goal.
That is beautiful. For any of our listeners who are currently facing this silent struggle or, who are supporting a friend or family member through it, you do not have to navigate the heartbreak alone.
Definitely not.
You can explore the exact clinical frameworks and integrative blueprints we discussed today by visiting them online at www.berkeleycenter.com, or you can reach out directly at 212-685-0985.
They've spent nearly 3 decades proving that science and compassion can rewrite the ending to these stories.
Yeah. It is a powerful realization that true healing requires looking at both the microscopic environment and the whole human being. Integrating hyper-targeted Western measurements with the systemic cellular repair of Eastern therapies offers a highly logical, evidence-based path forward, especially for people who have been told they are completely out of options.
It changes the entire paradigm of what is possible.
It really does. And it leaves me with one final provocative thought for everyone listening today to mull over as they go about their week.
Okay, let's hear it.
We've just spent this deep dive examining how integrating Eastern therapies like acupuncture and herbal medicine can measurably fix cellular energy deficits and aggressively block oxidative stress in a highly monitored, incredibly complex field like reproductive medicine.
Right.
So, what other chronic, energy-depleted conditions in our bodies might be waiting for this exact same Eastern-Western blueprint to finally clear the rust and recharge the battery?
Oh, wow. That's a great question.
Something to think about. Thanks for exploring the science with us today. Keep asking questions, keep connecting the dots, and we will catch you on the next deep dive into the source material.